Well, that must be where they got the idea.
All right. It's the event we've been waiting for all night. This is the Jack of All Graves crossover with Hellrankers' first ever podcast ever, 2024. Let's make some noise for Jack of All Graves and Hellrankers!
Hey, friends.
Sup?
Hello.
Hello. Hey. Mark's gonna take us in today.
All right.
We got a real treat for you.
Listen, crew. The thrice blessed, the holiest among the holy, yeah? The ordained, the fucking priests among priests. Do me a favor, let's kick off tonight, but just do me a favor, look to your neighbor, look deep in their eyes. Make it uncomfortable, make it awkward, yeah? And acknowledge for me. Think of your own journey here tonight. Think of your own fucking story. Think of your history and know the person next to you also has their own internal fucking struggles that they've overcome to be here tonight. You amongst us here tonight are in the church of Hellrankers, the fucking cathedral of Jack of All Graves. You are the thrice blessed. Raise your fucking voices.
That's gonna pop. That is going to
Oh,
pop.
sure. All right, just start now. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah. Take us there,
Look,
Skitch.
friends, a little something about me, right? As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. And it makes sense to me. It feels right to here in the shadow of New York City, yes? In a city we could have picked a fucking zillion JoAG things to talk about. We could have talked about the Son of Sam. We could have talked about the fucking Central Park 5. We could have talked about the race riots, human trafficking, the crack epidemic, police brutality. I can't skip this opportunity to talk about the mob.
Yeah. I'm into
Yeah?
it. I'm down. Let's do this.
So you know I love a journey. You know I love to go through space and time. So come back with me, if you don't mind, to 1920s New York City.
Take us there.
It was the jazz age.
Yeah, buddy.
Harlem clubs, theaters fucking buzzing, thrumming with the incredible energy of live music and dance. We're talking Duke Ellington, Ella Fitzgerald, Billie Holiday, Louis Armstrong. Time of huge, almost artistic renaissance in New York City, and Harlem was right at the front. African-American culture was in the spotlight in a way it had never been before. Feminine roles were changing also. Flapcore, you know?
Who are you, all of us? This is a me intro is what's happening here.
Killing it.
I'm loving it.
It's almost as though I've been learning.
It is a journey.
But no, in women's fashion, hair and hemlines were becoming shorter. Women became more independent, more empowered. At the same time, mass media was taking hold. Hollywood was growing. The studio system of movie making was beginning to, dominate. Technical improvements in the arts, radio, newspapers, alongside movies were really taking hold and helping to impact public opinion, pop culture. The idea that advertising could drive economics was booming, and physically, the city was changing as well, almost as a mirror of the growing ambition and the broadening horizons of its citizens. In 1930, the Chrysler Building opened. The Empire State Building in 1931, the skyline was rising, along with the expectations of those on the ground. And let me tell you, those fucking crickets are perfect. The fucking background. How well has this worked? You know what I mean? Like I had anything to do with putting this together. I'm so proud of myself right now.
I also love you're doing the thing that like all the TV shows do and everything, where it's like, you know, New York. It's almost like a character.
Isn't it?
Marty Scorsese, it's in the water.
But friends, physically the city was changing, almost as a mirror of that growing ambition. But where there's growth, there's opportunity. And for all its change, for all its evolution, NYC of the 20s and 30s was riddled with inequality and poverty. Immigration was colossal. Kind of Italian, Irish, Jewish families were all flocking to NYC. But what they found was a lack of legitimate legal opportunities. All the construction led to labor exploitation, with the desperation of the Great Depression leading to a weak and corrupt police force who would happily turn a blind eye to the exploitation of the workforce for a slice of the proceeds of that organized crime.
Thankfully, that doesn't happen anymore. Thank you.
Listen,
it's been a great
we've learned as a population, we beat all that, we've left that behind.
Never again.
Progress. Think about it. Most gambling was illegal during the Depression, so street-level gambling dens flourished alongside prostitution, drugs, and on a less positive note, loan sharking and other kind of petty criminal enterprises that flourished thanks to the laws of supply and demand. Now, the biggest opportunity by far came from prohibition. The 18th Amendment had outlawed the manufacture, sale, and distribution of alcohol. What the fuck is that about? You know what I'm saying?
Listen, let me tell you what that's about, right? That's my job here as your American Studies historian. It came from a good place, right? Because think about it. At the time, people were like straight up like drinking on the job and shit like that. So for one thing, you're already losing your arms in factories. Like adding some whiskey to it was not great. Also, you had this problem where it was like dudes were getting like this tiny little pittance of money, right? And then they were on the way home hitting like the saloon and drinking
There it goes.
all of the money, and then coming home and hitting their wives because they were broke and full of whiskey. So like the idea behind it made sense.
Seems like they were avoiding dealing with systemic issues.
What?
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
I can't believe they do that. Doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah, they legislated it instead of changing the material conditions of the people
Right.
of New York.
Again, thank God that's the thing of the past.
Yay!
They've come so far.
Never happened.
Let's deal with that
This
again.
fucking
Yep.
Star Trek utopia, which we all know
Yep.
live. So look, what happened? What filled the void? Criminal enterprise, yes? Bootlegging became the most lucrative illicit business in the city. That constant flow of revenue, it helped upgrade street gangs into more powerful organizations, taking advantage of an already shit as fuck police force. Speakeasies and smuggling operations put money in the pockets of cops, as well as judges, as well as politicians, creating that perfect environment for street-level brutality as the crime families began to form. Now, one of the coolest things about all this,
You're looking for the cool part.
trust
of
me,
all of that.
one of the coolest things about all this was the kind of the diversity of the mob at the time.
This is like it's a girl boss sort of situation, right?
Honestly, you see an opening, you go for it. And that booming immigrant population led to rising leaders across every represented ethnicity. We had Jewish American mobs. There were, they were responsible for kind of gambling and bootlegging. Then you had African American groups who ran the numbers rackets. You had Irish American mobs.
Hold on.
Yep.
What is a numbers racket? They're just like control of math?
I'm so glad.
Math used to be different.
We know that math is a myth. Yeah, it's just shit we made up. And those particular mobs use that.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just like a big
Yeah.
Sudoku ring.
Today we call them investment group. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Steve, a fellow mobster. Yes, these were those who, give me some coin and I'll charge you more coin for that. The kind
Okay.
of, the numbers, guys.
Yeah. No, I'm on board.
We all
I need no further information.
But the Irish Americans, they were the guys who had a hand in kind of labor racketeering.
Heyo. Where are my Irish Americans at in here, right? Woo! Criminals.
Watch out.
But let me tell you, it was the Italians. It was the Italians who had that bootlegging all stitched the fuck up, right? They were the guys who had a grip on the hooch business. They brought.
Do you guys remember that song, Who Got the Hooch?
I do.
It's Irish Americans,
Very
apparently.
interesting you bring that
Yeah,
up.
who got the hooch?
You did this to yourself, come on.
Baby. Anyone know?
Got only sweetest thing in the world.
I got the hooch. The Italians were the ones who had the hooch.
Yes.
Okay, and what they brought from Sicily
Good for
was
them.
that
Yeah.
tight organizational style. Now, I'm the only Brit in this backyard, and which is why when I say that we had an alcopop called hooch in British culture like 20 years
Sorry,
ago.
you're gonna have to start at Alcopop first here.
Oh, sorry, you call it, excuse me, hard cider.
Oh, that is
Hard
not
seltzer.
where I thought that was.
No,
going.
alcohol.
I was like, is this a music?
Yeah, I thought this was good, like,
This
you
is
know.
like a style of.
Some marketing genius.
Aqua.
Alco Pop sounds great.
No, that's what they
Yeah.
call it, literally on the can. Some marketing genius, kind of in the turn of the millennium between 90s and 2000s, had this idea. Hey, what if booze but marketed at children?
Oh.
Wow.
Well, yeah.
That's novel.
Right.
We have that here,
And yeah, chief among those was hooch, apple flavor, like a lemonade, like a boozy lemonade. The Sicilians would have fucking loved it, I swear to God. But yeah, they brought that organization, tapped into the traditional old ways, the code of silence, omerta, you know, the silence, the brutality, the emotional slaying of their rivals as they grabbed power across the city.
Did you say emotional slaying?
Emotionless.
Emotionless.
I was like, tell me more.
I thought they were out here
Fine,
just
I'm open to.
devastated.
Did I say
Just straight
emotional
up
slaying?
gaslighting people.
Like, that shirt does not work with that. Fair
No,
pants.
for every bullet they shed a tear, right? This was emotional. I'm fucking sorry, man. So let's talk about these. Let's talk about how the kind of the disparate kind of family organization became something more organized. It was at the turn of the decade between the 20s and 30s when one Charles Lucky Luciano, he established what became the modern American mafia as he came out on top of the super violent Castellamarese War. Ha!
Say it again.
Castellamarese
Oh,
War.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, sounds fun, doesn't it? Trust me, it fucking wasn't.
Oh, it was okay.
Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah.
No, I'm, you know, I'm more fun than that fucking war was. It was fucking horrible. But what he did was he headed up the 5 families, and through those 5 families, all criminality in New York had to run through them. Okay, they were changes as people moved on or ended up getting whacked by moved on. I mean, getting 2 in the back of the head. Yeah.
That's
a really
it's
nice
not just
way
like
to say
went
it.
on to
yeah.
work at the Apple
Didn't
store.
move
Yeah,
up
listen.
state.
HR wasn't
Yeah.
something that they'd worked
Gotcha.
out. It wasn't kind of you get an exit interview. Your exit interview was made of lead. You know?
Exiting life.
Yes, mate. Yes, mate.
This is bringing something poetic out in you, I think.
Oh shit. News update: gun found at Brooklyn High School.
It's it's a Friday.
Oh, Fridays, you call it.
Yeah.
But just super quickly, the 5 families. You had the Luciano family, you had the Mangano family, the Gaggiano family, the Profacci family, and the Bonanno family. Yeah. Bonanno. Bonanno. Even though the influence has faded in, you know, the 2020s, now gangs are Russian, Albanian, Mexican. All of that competition for influence and control. Those 5 family system of crime rule is still in place to this day. Even though their power has been diluted over the generations, even right now, that structure of organized crime is still in place.
I bet Gen Z could beat them.
Oh, what? You're not going to TikTok your way out of a fucking gangland shooting?
I think you.
I don't
think
know,
you
man.
might.
Yeah.
I think
Couple
they
of
could
good
neg the
TikToks.
mob.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
5 things I can do to take charge of organized crime.
You're also doing a dance, so you
Yeah, for sure. The dance would help too. Yeah.
I got the hooch. So listen, that's the history, okay? That's a little kind of potted history of.
And it was a great history. I
Yeah.
am impressed by that. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you. No, I put the work in. So let's talk about the cool stuff, right? Let's talk about mob slaying in New York, motherfucking city. And I don't know what Corey has in store for the tour tomorrow, but law of averages states we're going to walk past a gangland slaying cycle.
Oh, for sure.
I
Yeah.
hope so.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm gonna do one if we don't. So.
Awesome.
Guaranteed.
do you favor gangland or execution style?
Oh man, I didn't know there was gonna be a quiz. Why don't you enlighten me on the difference before I
Now-
make any rash decisions?
I can't say for sure, but my understanding is gangland style is on your knees, kind of where your hands
that's
touch.
right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
execution style,
It's-
or is it the other way around? So execution style
yeah,
is.
Anna knows.
So does Clint, worryingly.
Interesting that the people who live here know. Just fascinating. What are your last names again? Anyways,
So firstly, let's talk about one Joe Masseria. Joe Masseria, aka
I think I like
Joe
the knee
Boss.
one, by the way.
Which one?
Whatever the knee one is, I feel good about that.
Oh, that's the knee.
Yeah.
That's more kind of Irish.
Hey.
Oh, okay.
It always comes
That
back
makes
around.
sense.
Yeah, that's an Irish, a good old fashioned.
Where did he come from?
Irish kneecapping. Joe Masserio, April the 15th, 1931, in a Coney Island restaurant. Now, the guy I
Did you say
spoke about.
Joe Mysterio?
No. That's Spider-Man's nemesis.
Joe Mysterio. Yeah. Watch out, Spider-Man. Joe Mysterio's behind you.
Hey, Spider-Man, you fuck.
Get
We
me
want the
pictures
fucking
of
look
Joe
around here.
Mysterio.
The fuck up, Peter Parker. I'm gonna fucking shoot your ass.
What did you say?
I have an excellent Irish Bobster accent, it turns out.
Do you? You decided.
Spot on.
Let's hear it.
I go, right, fucking fucked up, your Uncle Ben, you fucking piece of fuck.
That's good. That is good. I like that.
Uncle Ben's a fucking goomba.
like he's a native.
Discovering a lot of shit.
Honestly, you should be welcoming us to America. That was nailed it.
Fuck am I talking about? Listen,
Joe Mysterio.
Joe Mysterio.
Get back to it.
You're disrespecting his memory, Corey.
Well, I mean,
Let me tell you something about the death of Joe Mysterio, right? He is
That's not
widely
his name,
known.
right?
It is now.
You'll have to look it up later to find out the real details.
we're not fact checking here.
He was assassinated by Charles Lucky Luciano, who we spoke about earlier, the guy who pulled the strings, organized the 5 families. He was dining in a
There is
restaurant.
someone who keeps on being like, "Oh yeah," every time you say
yeah.
Lucky
And
Luciano.
Clint fucking knows this. He's
That's Joe
Mafia
Mysterio the
scholar.
third. He showed up.
Hey, don't you disrespect my fucking uncle. Fucking
Keep your shit together.
Break this table, sir. Let's
through the table.
Joe Mysterio through the table.
But in classic mobster style, took himself for a piss and was followed in
Is that specifically a thing?
mobster's piss too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
But in
okay.
classic mobster style, he was followed into the restroom by several armed gunmen who shot his ass while he was fucking holding his tackle.
What if the gunmen weren't armed? They just like stubs.
Were they that worried about him? Like, if he doesn't have his dick in his hand, don't you dare shoot
Here's
a
the
bullet.
thing. That's another thing the Sicilians bought was piss assassinations, right? A big thing
okay.
You're
in
most vulnerable. Like it's insulting.
Okay,
at that
okay,
point.
yeah, I
See,
get
this
it.
is what I always
get
say.
it.
Like, I don't want to die on the john. I don't want
No.
to die in the shower. I don't want like my bits
Yep.
out
Yeah.
and about when I'm
It's like
murdered.
you've already killed me, and now I'm even more humiliated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, this is it. That's the other code. Apart from the code of silence, it's the code of killing also when you're having a piss. That's the other thing the Sicilians.
Wow.
So let's also talk about Albert Anastasia. What a name. A notorious mob boss. He was the co-founder of something called Murder Inc., which was
Nice.
Murder Inc.
Rad.
Yeah, that sounds like
This
a
is like
a
the-
canceled Fox television show.
The antithesis
Who's
to
the guy
the
who played
Scooby-Doo
Angel?
gang.
He's in the fucking lead.
Did they put the
Borealis.
paperwork
Borealis.
together to become incorporated, or did they just claim that?
They took out a
They're an
pay-
LLC.
They're an
took out all the
LLC, okay,
paperwork.
good.
They paid their taxes.
Good.
With Murder Inc. had fans. But the assassination squad of the 5 families was known as Murder Inc. And Albert Anastasia, he was the co-founder of Murder Inc. He met his end October 25th, 1957, in a barbershop.
That's
You're
respectable.
second most vulnerable because who knows what the fuck they're doing
Right.
to your hair.
Third one.
Razors near you.
Third rule of Sicilian murder: keep quiet, wait till they're having a piss, or having a haircut.
Okay.
All core principles of the Sicilian mob.
How do they do? They still shoot you, or do they like do something more interesting? Do they like
Sweeney
Sweeney
Todd
Todd it?
it, yeah.
They wait until the guy holds the mirror up in the back of your head and asks if you're happy about it. Then they
Right
You have
when
to
you
look
just
yourself in the eyes as you die.
That's right. So you're vulnerable and you're thinking, "Oh, was it
But
what
I looked
asked for?"
fly.
Yeah, it looked really good too. They do it so good.
Either way-
right before you die. Yeah.
Either way,
your
it's a
haircut sucks.
tragedy. Yeah.
Yes, on many levels.
Yeah.
All pure mafia shit, this. And like I said, took place in a barbershop at the Sheraton Hotel in Manhattan.
You got it.
Yep. As he sat in the barber's chair, 2 gunmen entered and opened fire, killing him instantly. Yeah,
Not a lot of like
yeah.
drama to that, because like there's well, here's the thing. Like, there's
So
this other
boring.
guy.
What fucking drama do you want?
Okay,
They
well,
had
there's
mean
this-
texts
There's
beforehand.
this, right.
Yeah.
They were
We're
being
coming to
set
get
up
you.
all day.
You're gonna get shot by a gun
Your
later.
haircut looks stupid.
Sheraton for a haircut? Oh, no.
There's like a guy who like worked for the mob named Richard Kuklinski.
Oh, yeah.
And
No, he was
he's known
creative,
as
yeah.
the Iceman, and he would do like some like he'd put people like in a cave
Yeah.
and cover them in like honey and shit, and then like let rats eat them.
Yeah. And
So-
he filmed that as well.
But
Yeah, he got videotape of that. So yeah, you could show that he did it. Yeah.
yeah, just for fun.
My minutes of research, I didn't come across that.
Well, that was more recent. More recent.
Yeah, this is
The
not
past
your
40
wheelhouse.
years.
I don't, and it wasn't in Manhattan. I don't think, because there's not a
No.
lot of caves,
No.
Ah, okay.
famously.
You could have told me Manhattan is underscored by a network of caves. And I
All
go,
caves,
It is
caves all the way
kind of.
down.
There are these like trains that go through.
My Welsh has to be, will we see the caves?
What is a tunnel if not a long cave?
That's
That's
right.
a good
yeah.
point.
See? And those are the questions you only get. Here in Curry's backyard. So listen, let's talk also about Dutch Schultz. This guy was a prominent bootlegger, prominent
Dutch
mobster.
Schultz.
Dutch Schultz.
Are you going to tell me
He
what
was
background
known-
he comes from? Is it Dutch?
Well,
hope
what I
it's
can
not.
tell you that he was killed right here in Newark.
Oh.
Yeah. Newark. Did I do that right?
No, of course not.
You do it?
It's close. It was close.
Newark.
Yeah, hey,
Newark.
there it is.
There you go. So Dutch Schultz killed in Newark, and his murder ordered directly from the Mafia Commission. Schultz, you're going to say there was no drama to this, but
Did you say Mafia Commission? You're just barreling past things.
That is
there.
interesting, yeah.
Like we all know this.
what did I tell you? The Sicilians brought order. They brought structure.
A
you know? You
commission.
can't-
They
like
brought
you admire
bureaucracy.
them.
You
A
couldn't
little
just
bit.
you couldn't just decide to off someone. It had to go through the fucking.
Oh, okay.
It's
It
like
had to
John
rise up the
Wick.
ranks.
Were there elections, like neighborhood elections?
Right,
Like,
yeah.
There
Exactly.
were definitely meetings.
vote for me, I'll
Is
murder
there,
you.
is there a Mafia PTA? I'm just curious.
I
It would
want
go like
that.
this. Hey, boss. Dutch has been saying some real shady things. He wants to rat you out. Fucking get him.
God is that.
Bravo.
He's gonna be at the barber shop.
Taking a piss.
Catch him right at the end of the haircut and the piss.
He's gonna be concerned about how his hair looks.
And yep, he was eating at a restaurant, gunman shot. Listen, let me talk to you more about Giuseppe Ao.
Okay.
Weirdly known as Joe the Boss.
Well, Joe,
Giuseppe is Joseph. Yeah.
Joseph, yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, this guy was a rival. This guy was actually all in with Al Capone. He was a rival of Big Al Capone, killed on October the 23rd, 1930, ambushed, notably, gone down in history as the first murder ever to be committed with a Tommy gun.
You know what? I wish you were here to know that happened. You know?
yeah.
He has a place in the textbooks.
I like to think he's looking down right now.
Like, this is
On
where
us.
this. Yeah.
Here right now.
This chump is getting the details all wrong.
Think of how cool it'll look in the movies.
Ambushed by gunmen with submachine guns. They pulled up next to him in a fucking car and unloaded on his ass.
Nice.
Tommy
Classic.
guns. Yeah.
Well,
His
it wasn't
guy-
at the time, I suppose, but.
At the time, it was brand new. It was
This is
revolutionary.
not brand new.
I like to think he thought.
This rules.
I like to think also some of the mobsters were like, kids these days kill different. It ain't like the old days when you catch a guy pissing.
I think our kids could overthrow the mafia.
Last one I'm going to mention is a guy called Gaetano Reina, weirdly known as Tommy, a mafia boss. February 26, 1930. Check this out. They fucking ganked his ass while he was leaving his mistress's apartment.
Third most vulnerable.
Fourth pillar of the mafia, right?
Yikes.
We've all been leaving our missus'
Don't say
apartment,
shit.
and we're like, oh, I hope
Wait
I
un-
don't get killed.
Wait until their bladder's empty. Wait until they're well shaved. Wait until they've fucking,
You know, done their thing.
You know what I'm saying? We're a family podcast.
Yeah.
Fuck we are. If your family is, the Addams family. He was leaving his mistress's apartment in the Bronx when he was ambushed, shot in the head with a fucking shotgun, man.
Oh, that must have been messy. Yeah.
Sure, mess.
Just
Who
bits
cleans that
everywhere.
up? Do they have like a.
They have the mafia
A company?
custodial clean
That's the fifth,
team.
the
Yeah.
fifth pillar of the mob. Don't say shit. Wait till they've had a piss. Wait till they've had a haircut. Wait till they've just had sex, and do tidy up after.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Be kind, rewind.
If they
We're not
just left a
animals.
mess.
So look, if you haven't got the gist, what I'm saying here is, if you think of the murder montages you see in movies like Goodfellas, like Casino, that's how it went down. Coordinated and clinical murder to order. Murderers murdering murderers before the murderers could murder the murderers.
Well, you got it.
Yeah.
Super. That was the
Mind games.
sixth rule of the Italian.
Please don't do it. I understand.
Look, we've gained a lot in the information age. We've gained constant communication, health and safety, political correctness, ubiquitous surveillance. But have we lost that sense of flair in our murder? Have we lost that sense
I'm
of
wondering.
fucking theatricality?
Yeah.
Je ne sais quoi, Genevieve.
He's so beige.
Did you say Genevieve?
I think if your TikTok kids are going to get any kind of hold on the mob, they're going to need to learn to kill with style. And if the mob had one thing, they certainly had style. Listen, thanks for coming. That was my If I can just consult my notes, look at those fucking nerds. Measles.
That was almost as close as it really is.
I've literally only listened to our theme.
I was going to say, you've never heard that before, so this is...
It's more like, oh, measles.
Hey, Hellrankers! Yeah, boy.
Your theme tune.
Yeah, it's
This
pretty
is
rad.
theme tune. Who is it? Who's the band that does it again?
Blush.
Yeah.
Out of Bulgaria.
Mhm.
Out
They're
of
from Bulgaria.
much like
Welcome
Mark.
on Fiverr, except for you can't anymore because
Yeah,
they disappeared.
we saved their village, and they just like packed up the bags, decided we're not going to make any more songs. So
You guys saved the village.
How did you link up with a Bulgarian band to make your music?
Fiverr.
No.
Yeah, well, that's how it
Mark
works.
was not listening to the sentence right before that.
He was thinking, I just did such a good job.
Weird,
He's right.
I was in Bulgaria on holiday a couple of weeks back. Mm-hmm. It was cheap.
Yeah.
And we kind of hid some kind of local Bulgarian music, and it was fucking mad. Like accordion, somebody banging
Right,
on
yeah.
the dinner tray. Like people spitting
Like the
into
guy
a
in
bucket.
Jaws 4.
Yeah.
Didn't sound as awesome as that at all.
Well, we there is a little spitting into a bucket. It's just like real low in the mix.
That's a secret ingredient.
Yeah.
You'd
Bury
notice
it in
if
the
it
mix.
wasn't there.
It's wonderful to be here in my backyard with some of my besties here, my
So
podcast
surreal.
besties. It is surreal to
It
have
is.
you all gathered here for this occasion. Obviously, it's like one of those things where I'm like, do we introduce ourselves? But you all know.
You know who
You
we
know
are.
who we are.
I hope. Hi.
But yeah, obviously we've just JoAG'd at you, and I hope that you enjoyed that. And now you're gonna hell rank all over your face.
That's right.
Can I just, let's say someone is listening to this for the very first time and has never listened to Hellrankers. Do me a favor and just kind of sum up the podcast. What is it all about? What do you do?
Mark's like, just in case someone.
If there's
maybe
someone here
hasn't
who's never
listened-
heard,
Someone who's never maybe listened to a podcast
Sure.
before.
We
I don't know anyone like that. Yeah.
we watch entire franchises and we rank them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Honestly, Hellrankers exists because of JoAG.
Well, yeah, that is
100%.
true.
Because
And I apologize to you guys for that.
when you guys did Leprechaun in the Hood for a watch along, and
Yep.
I had never seen any Leprechaun movies, so I had
And
to
you can't just watch one.
up to that point, and then I'd already listened that far, so why not keep going?
And
And
listen, if
I
you
can
hadn't,
think of
you
some
wouldn't have
reasons.
seen, the genius that is movies that follow Leprechaun in the Hood.
Yeah,
I've actually never seen any of the further ones.
There's some great stuff
yeah.
in there.
yeah. The,
Yes.
the
How
new
many
one,
are
the
there?
Stephen Kostansky one is really good.
Oh, the
I
Kostansky
think
one's
Stephen
great.
Kostansky's great.
But no,
Alright.
Anna, your name literally became a description for
Yeah.
watching
It's so
a
weird.
painfully long franchise. Oh fuck, I'm gonna animate in this whole thing. I know.
Yeah.
I know I'm gonna do
Yeah.
it. So bad.
Yeah, it's so weird. I tell my parents, like, yeah, someone like in England is like using my name to describe watching movies, and they're like, what?
Trust me, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, we watch franchises and rank them.
Yeah, we only started as a main feed kind of recently, but if a lot of people were Patreon members, you've heard our entire backlog where we talked about some amazing series like Hellraiser, which is where the name came from, and of course Fast and the Furious, which I think was probably the most
That was fun.
most fun that we had. Oh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a blast.
I like doing Batman.
so-
Batman was really fun
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it only becomes hell sometimes, and then sometimes it's all hell. Sometimes you
Yeah,
sit and watch.
you get like 5 movies into The Howling,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, this
Has
is
there ever been a franchise that you've almost tapped out on? What's the closest you've come to going? I can't.
That's a good question.
God. No, not really. No. I mean, Hellraiser was hard. It was
Hellraiser
real
was
hard. But that was also early on, and after you get through that, you're like, I can do whatever.
Honestly, Home Alone.
Home Alone was tough.
Because
get
there's
pretty
not that
narrow.
many of
Yeah,
them, but the ones that are bad are so bad that it makes you
Yeah.
want to not be there anymore.
Right. For sure.
Yeah, not good.
Starts making you question your existence
Yeah.
after a while.
Yeah.
Like, do I
Yeah.
want to be here?
Do I
like,
even
on
want to
Earth?
celebrate Christmas anymore?
Do I like children? I'm not sure I do.
Maybe they deserved this. I don't know.
Maybe they left them alone because they hate them.
No, yeah. I was just about to like say no. The first one's like, and then like the fifth one is like, no. We're gonna eventually do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it again. Yeah, we did it back in the day. But now we're doing Jaws.
Jaws.
Yeah, and I'm excited to do this. We don't normally do something under 5 movies, but with guests and with this format, it seemed perfect. And I know that Jaws is one of Corrigan's absolute favorite movies.
It is. Yeah, I like Jaws a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm into it.
but there are sequels to Jaws. And, boy, they're a little different. So we're gonna start at our lowest ranked movie, and we happen to rank them the same.
Yeah.
We all did it separately. We came back together. We had the same exact ranking, and this does not always happen with Anna and I. So our worst, without a doubt, not even tough. Like, where are we? What are we even talking about when we talk about the second Jaws?
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
the second Jaws is. I liked Jaws 2 when I was a kid. And I don't know why, because it's the most boring thing I've ever seen in my
I'll tell you
life.
this.
So boring.
Something Corey and I do often is we'll watch movies together, and I'll hit play at 9:30, she'll hit play at 3:30, and we'll just chat shit about the movies on Signal while we're watching them. We watched Jaws like 3 weeks ago, and I'm still fucking bored.
Yeah, it's boring. That's one of the biggest crimes we've found in franchises is sequels just can't be boring.
Yeah.
It can be
Right.
insane, but not boring.
It's competent. It's shot pretty well.
Sure.
Like there's some interesting cinematography. The performances are all really good, but they don't really give us a reason to care about it that much.
Yeah, I mean, our main reason to care is this is Brody, right?
Like, you know that guy.
Everyone's
You liked
favorite
him.
from Jaws.
Hey, now, let's not have Brody slander in the chat. all right?
Okay, yeah,
Like,
Brody's fine, but he's of the 3. Let's hell rank the 3 members of the working group.
He's
I'm
the
gonna put
straight
Brody
man,
last.
right? Like, he's not there to be the most interesting
Yes,
character.
exactly.
So,
Yeah.
and he was basically shanghaied into making this movie.
100% right.
Yeah, and I don't know, Steve. Do you normally have a lot of background on this? So I don't want to like
no,
jump in.
I know that there were some contract issues and stuff, and he
Right.
basically just had to be involved, and he clearly is putting in that level of effort.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
very much. I have to be here. Effort.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's Roy Scheider, so like
He's great.
He's
yeah.
great, but in a like he would rather be doing anything else.
Yeah.
As would I while watching that movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if when was the last time you saw Jaws? You saw Jaws recently?
Okay, good.
Next time you watch Jaws, he's a kind of a shark-looking guy. He's got like a shark.
does kinda
What about
He's got
it?
these smooth kind of features. He's got these kind of calculating killer's eyes. And I don't know if that went into his casting or what, but he's beautifully cast in Jaws because the fucker looks like a shark in man form. They're beautiful adversaries, the two of them.
I never really
Yeah.
thought about that. Yeah, it's a little parallel.
Maybe that's like the
situation there.
source of their rivalry here. It's like
Oh well,
Encroaching on
we'll
each
talk
other's
more
style.
about their rivalry when we get to 4. We have some theories. But we'll get there. But Lorraine Gary is back, and I think it's interesting. Then the first one, like in the book, Lorraine Gary and what's his name,
Matt Hooper.
Matt Hooper have an affair,
Yeah.
right? Like there's something very interesting about that. That like they don't. I feel like they could have like slipped it in here, maybe.
Well, you
like,
know,
little,
Steve wants you to slip it in.
yeah.
There is kind of
we're
like this.
already writing a better movie.
There is like a moment of chemistry in the first one that I feel
Yeah.
is like a little like they're alluding to it when Hooper comes over.
And
for
they're
dinner,
drinking wine.
and they're
Yeah.
drinking, yeah,
Yeah, but
like,
it
he's
seemed
like,
more
I'm in
like a
sharks,
three-way
that whole thing,
situation.
Like,
Yeah.
she'd be down, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, she's
Is
down.
the shark one of the 3-way?
Well,
Oh yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking. Yeah,
Again,
I'm
that's a
thinking
Jaws
Hooper,
4
the shark, and See, yeah, part 2, its primary problem is it's boring.
Yeah, and it's kind of just like, well, you already did this like the best it can be done. Why are you gonna do it? Why are you gonna try to do it again?
Yeah.
It's not scary this time because we already saw this.
We already saw
done
all
as well as it
the
can be
scares,
done.
all the shark coming out of nowhere, all that stuff. And so what are we getting out of this other than just more of the same?
The teenagers are a problem.
Teenagers are a problem.
In this movie, which is, probably an evergreen statement, but the teenagers in this movie are like, they're so annoying. And I think that's like a huge issue with this too, is like, I do not care about these children who keep throwing themselves into shark mouths.
They really do. They really do. Which is an issue with some other sequels that we liked, but everybody seems to be throwing themselves into shark
You
mouths.
gotta at least be funny
after
or
the first
stupid when you throw yourself into the shark mouth,
And it's divided like pretty evenly between the teen storyline and the other storyline, so it feels like you're kind of not really getting enough of either one to be worth it. Like, it's pulling you in totally different directions all the time, so it's and then it's like, normally when there's like different storylines, I can look forward to like the next one that I actually like, but with these people I don't really care about any of them, so
I'm not the massive Jaws head that you are, but
you can move this.
I know.
Okay.
But it feels to me as though a big part of
this is worse.
What makes Jaws as enduring as it is that chemistry between the three shark hunters.
100%.
If you take Quint and you take Hopper out of the picture, you've just got leather shark-faced Roy Scheider. And
why is there so much hate for Roy Scheider here?
Look, I'm not hating, but as great a hero as he is, as great a protagonist as he is, without some other
he needs to be playing
both
off
Quint and Hopper,
somebody.
really strong fucking personalities. And the three of them on the Orca really is magic, and they don't even try to duplicate that.
No, they try to duplicate other things in this movie, and they do this throughout the other ones, but I think it's most egregious in this, where they just sort of try to like reenact scenes, but slightly different. So in the first Jaws, obviously you have that scene, that's very chaotic scene where everything is unfolding, and they need to put up signs to go out on the beach, and the woman is coming in, and she's like, the kids are karateing the fence, and like all this stuff is going on at once, and they basically do that scene again in Jaws 2, but just less entertaining, less good.
You liked it
more
the first
badder.
More badder. Yeah, so 2 does have one very redeeming quality, and that is that they get a shark to bite an electrical line.
It may be my favorite like defeat of Jaws
it's
throughout
real,
the whole series. Because it's so batshit.
It's crazy. It's out of nowhere. They like
it's
set
not
it
out
up.
of nowhere though, because
They do set it up. You're right.
In one line sets it up at the beginning of the movie, which both Mark and I texted. Yes, both Mark and I texted each other something about foreshadowing in like the first scene of the movie where he's like, it's a electrical cable that's under the sea, and you're like, I'm sure that won't come back around again.
Hope no fish bite this cable.
Sure would be a shame.
So that's a highlight of part 2. Any other big highlights of part 2 worth talking about? The banana boat.
Always good to see a banana boat. It is always great to see. There's a super atmospheric scene where Brody is making his own ammo.
That is fun. That is
when
fun.
you get insight into just how fucking much this means to him.
And then the other cop sees him and he like hides it. Like I'm like the fact that I'm reloading ammo doesn't. It's not like hide type of thing. But he clearly feels like there's something wrong about it.
He's dripping candle wax onto bullets. What does he actually do?
He's like putting poison under the. He puts poison on the like hollow tip bullet and then puts the wax to hold the poison, thinking I'm gonna shoot that fucking shark,
and the wax
and
will
it's gonna
melt,
poison it, and then it's gonna die later.
Very complicated, Mr. Brody.
The best I could come up with was he's making mega bullets.
Mega bullets.
And I wish that would have come back because I did love that part. I was like, where are we going with this? And
then
just
like not work.
It just didn't work. And it was like, so you just wasted all of our time.
Just a waste of our time.
It's a very cool. It's like you just imagine that halfway through production, someone on set was like, actually that wouldn't work, and they were like, well,
we already shot it though.
It was a real good scene. He looked intense.
We're just gonna have him hit a cable with some oars, then, and that'll be how he dies.
Yeah, so that's 3. Or no, that's what, 2.
2.
Yeah,
2.
next
That is
on our
last
list
place is number 2.
is number 3.
Yes.
And number 3,
Jaws 3D.
Where it gets good. The
it's
franchise kicks into gear.
3-dimensional, you guys.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Dennis
There-
Quaid is here.
It
So
very
really
much,
watch out.
Yeah, it very much looks like a shark is going to come through your screen. But
Yeah.
that the shark, once it gets through your screen, is just going to fall on the ground and be a stationary object because it's not moving at all.
It's not at
Yeah.
all. I love that kind of 3D though. There's something very
it's dumb. I love it,
endearing
yeah.
about that. Just like they had the technology to make it come at you, but that's as far as they could go. They could not blend it with like its limbs move.
Right.
I really enjoy kind of, what is it called? Anaglyph 3D? What is it called? That kind of 3D?
I don't know.
I don't know.
No
I like
idea.
it.
You could say that, and I'm willing to buy
Yeah,
it.
call
Go
it
back a
Anaglyph.
couple of years and I would have been able to remember that, but I can't anymore. But I enjoy watching movies that were made for that old kind of analog 3D,
Right.
but are now presented in 2D. I love the fucking
Yeah.
cheap ass tricks that they use. Friday the 13th 3 is a great
Yes.
one, where they're just waving shit,
Right.
The yo-yo. Yeah.
knowing their audience is fucking hell. Jaws 3 is full of that shit.
It
Like in
is.
the first
Yeah.
couple of seconds, just reaching
Yeah,
out.
just things just
Stunning.
hovering at you for incredible lengths of time.
So
Wait,
much of it is gimmicky.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, extremely.
It's also kind of ripping off the second, Creature of the Black Lagoon movie.
Yeah.
Just let's capture this and turn it into entertainment.
It's also a commercial for SeaWorld.
It is,
So
which
that's
is
fun.
wild. It's such an interesting one because they genuinely shot this at SeaWorld, which is bananas because now they would not do that
Yeah,
given the
'cause-
PR that it's had in the
Why
past
would you
several
want
years.
people to think, well, a shark might eat it?
It's like one of those things that at the time was like, I'm sure a great advertisement for SeaWorld, but now feels like too on the nose, like having a bunch of people murdered at the place
Yeah.
where
But they
many
did,
All
people
of
were
their
murdered by
attractions
whales.
are deeply dangerous. Please
Yes.
come here.
Right.
See our stuff.
they did show off the water skiing
Well,
that
yeah.
they used to do apparently at
Really
SeaWorld.
conspicuously, like halfway through the film,
Yeah.
they take like a water ski break.
Yeah, it's like, hey, what if you saw
Intermission.
people like standing on top of each other while water skiing? Wouldn't
Wouldn't that be
worth
majestic?
the price of admission?
And then the shark is going to chase them because that's what sharks do.
I love chasing food. They are not opportunistic. They don't look.
Listen, that is quite an opportunity. Those, I mean, people in a pyramid are very vulnerable.
You're right.
Dinner and a show.
Hey,
Seventh rule of the Sicilian mafia. Wait until the formation of water skiing, then you fucking whack.
Yeah, that is unknown element of the mafia in the 20s. Is there was a lot of water skiing competition that would go on.
And they employed sharks.
They employed
So-
sharks, yeah, of course.
See, that's the kind of drama I'm looking for. You know, like only a haircut and fuck off. Sharks chasing water skiers, Mr. Luciano.
Stop me if I'm wrong, though, but I think Jaws 3 marked a kind of a tangible decision by whoever was involved. Right, we got to change course here.
Yeah.
The kind of the slow build drama of a shark attack.
Yeah.
That ain't working anymore. Let's fucking go ham.
Yeah.
And this one
Oh,
went
yeah.
through like a bajillion different people writing it, and like it was supposed to be all these different kinds of movies. Some of which, like I think I sent you like a bit of the Wikipedia page. Like there were some options for this that would have been like genuinely cool, and then it was just like someone was like, no. Like, someone at the studio got involved. Was like.
3D.
But what if 3D
That
and
will
commercial
save
for
y'all.
SeaWorld?
Yeah.
With also my favorite fun fact about this movie that I think colors a lot about it is what Dennis Quaid said about this film was apparently he spent a lot of the 80s like everybody else doing the old cocaine, hitting that yayo pretty hard, and he said that there is not a single scene in this movie where he is not high as fuck.
Every shot.
Hell yeah.
Every shot he's in, he is on cocaine.
And that's the problem I feel like with the movie is it doesn't feel cocaine
Well,
influenced
yeah,
enough.
right, exactly.
To know he's on cocaine the whole
They're
time, it's
holding
like,
back.
whoa, why didn't you make some cocaine decisions?
Yeah,
like slap somebody
that's
out of
what I wanna
nowhere.
see.
I don't know.
Right, absolutely. That's the problem. Is it's like sometimes it's very crazy, but at others it's just nothing happening. It's like if you're interested in seeing what being a trainer at SeaWorld is like, this is your movie.
It's like their training video on day one when
It's
you start.
part documentary. Yeah.
They got to get their money's worth out of this. Yeah, so I don't know.
it's messy. Like there's
Yeah.
storylines that kind of just go uncommented on
Right.
after a certain point. We never find out what happens to certain people.
Dennis Quaid probably wasn't the only person on cocaine involved in this,
Yeah.
realistically.
I'm gonna guess that this was just like they saw this as a way to extract cocaine funds from a studio,
Yeah.
and they were like, no, we're filming. We're
Mission
filming."
accomplished.
This is the first of the movies that has 0 people from the original as well. Like Dennis Quaid plays.
Yeah, he plays a character, but
character,
none of the actors.
That's what's going to
return,
help me
yeah.
out continuity-wise.
Yeah.
So between Jaws 2 and 3, so Dennis Quaid is Chief Brody's son.
Right.
Yes.
Different shark.
Yeah.
Yes.
Different shark, but I mean, part 2 had a different shark. So the first part,
They're all
shark
different
dies.
sharks.
Second part, shark dies. Third part, a shark dies. Then another shark gets revenge for that shark.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the fourth part in a second.
We're so excited to talk about the fourth.
Right, I'm not a marine biologist, but sharks don't fucking do that, right?
No, it's.
You mean they don't like pass down their like
angst.
grievances,
Generational fish
familial?
trauma, it's not
yeah.
a thing.
I feel
Do we
like,
know that?
Do
I mean,
is it
I guess we don't.
Yeah, we don't. know
Eileen,
that for
is
sure.
Eileen in the garden? Do sharks bear grudges?
They don't forget.
Well, the thing about the sharks that we know is that they're fish, and their
That's
memories would be those of fish.
Well,
So, probably not good at remembering who to kill.
Yeah, well-
which is why it ended up at SeaWorld.
Yeah.
It was like, I know I gotta kill somebody. Anybody's getting it until I find them.
Yeah. Case closed.
case closed. A detective? What's happening here?
It is so bizarre to think about the fact that they just decided that sharks in general are gonna target this one family.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
No
that's the
matter
thing.
where
Yeah,
you
it becomes like a specific grudge against the Brody family.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about it.
Well,
Our
let's
next
talk
on our
about
list is
it.
part 4.
Part
Jaws,
four.
the revenge.
All of the cocaine sentiment from part 3 went into part 4.
Here, yeah.
Shifted on over.
Fucking hell. I know we're all super familiar with Jaws, right? But I before today, I'd seen Jaws 4 like once in my life.
Right.
And my only memory of it was Michael Caine's in it. It was kind of shit. But seeing it again today through adult eyes, it's shit, but in such a fucking creative and it's almost like everyone did their best to think, right, what don't sharks do, because they're going to do that.
What don't people do?
How don't people act? Because we're going to do that.
How shouldn't families act with each other?
Jesus Christ. Yeah, there's a lot of bedroom eyes.
Yeah.
What type of eyes shouldn't an actor have if he wanted to interact with other people and
Yeah.
not look like he wants to fuck them?
Yeah.
Because
right.
that is what we deal with our major character here, who is Martin Brody's oldest son,
Yeah.
right?
Formerly Dennis Quaid, now.
Yeah. And
Now
the-
someone who looks
somebody
much
else.
younger.
Yeah, now the actor who plays him literally just has slut eyes. And
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know how to explain it, just watch it.
If you look, you'll
Yeah.
see it.
Every scene he's in with everybody,
You'll
it's like,
understand.
oh, are they gonna fuck? Oh, that's his
Doesn't matter
mom.
what he's
Oh, that's
looking
his
at.
mother.
Like a chair, his dinner, a dog, a shark. Brody's son's gonna fuck.
I would love like Mark, I would love a run at this, and not to hijack the
No,
hell
no,
ranking here,
don't go
but
ahead.
I would just love
Let's
a
hear
Mark run at explaining the plot of this
I'd
movie.
love it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think we all agree that.
Yeah.
Right, you all seen Hereditary?
Not where I thought that was gonna go.
Did not see that.
No.
Imagine it, but sharks.
Oh.
Do you get
Yo,
where I'm
yeah.
coming from?
Yeah.
So, sharks talk to one another. We all know this in the law, in the world of Jaws 4, right?
Yeah.
And the sharks, through their generations, have whispered of this fucking family, the Brodies. They hate us. They hate us. They want to kill us. They victimize us. And that generational kind of trauma has been passed down. And the sharks are now specifically picking on Brody's family. And during the course of their last kind of 3 movies, Brody's wife has developed fucking shark sense.
Yeah.
Right?
She's got the shark
I'm
shining.
not even
She
fucking.
has a
You
connection.
remember this
to
from but whenever there's like a shark, there's like impending shark peril, she'd be like,
Flashbacks
Yeah.
to scenes she was never there for.
Yeah. She sees things she couldn't have seen.
say cheese, motherfucker.
Yeah.
It's so hard
What do you
to
think?
it's so hard to explain like every element of how batshit this movie. But let's go into that as one. The movie Jaws exists in the
Yeah.
Jaws 4 universe.
yeah.
They don't say
Oh,
this
yeah.
explicitly, but it does.
It does because yes, we hear Mario Van Peebles whose character is, whatever. He
does the
doing
There's a shark.
music. How would he know
How
this?
does he know?
Of all the fucking movies to reach through the fourth wall, right?
Right.
Jaws 4 acknowledges that Jaws exists in the Jaws universe.
Yeah.
How do you know this?
Did he make a
Mad
biopic?
metaphysical fucking motherfucker.
The fact is that Lorraine Gary sees things from Jaws.
Yeah, like
She
stuff like
sees
from
the movie
from the Orca.
Jaws. She's not seeing a memory.
Yeah.
She wasn't there. So she's seeing stills from Jaws.
Incredible.
It's so bizarre. Like it started near there was something that initially triggered this that was like, do they know? Do they know about Jaws? Do they have memories from Jaws? And then with the theme,
It's like
we were
undeniable.
flabbergasted. Mark nearly screamed.
And none of this is to mention Michael Caine, right?
Yeah, Michael Caine's in this movie, flying a plane.
Flying the plane. Weirdly, how do they know him? Fuck knows. We don't know. Oh, by the way,
knows.
Don't worry about it.
to get away from sharks, they moved to the coast
They moved to a place that's all coast, an island.
Coast.
in the
Yeah,
Caribbean, and they meet.
Well,
Michael
hey,
Caine.
listen, it's only an island if you're looking at it from the land, right?
Yeah.
Good point.
Wisdom.
That's a good point.
Michael Caine is like a taxi driver, but with a plane.
Yep.
And his way of getting to know people when he meets them for the first time is, "Hey, do you want a cup of fly by plane?"
Yeah. That is how it
Whoever the
sounds.
fuck he's talking to, have a go with my plane.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just sits back and lets
Yeah.
it's a child or
Yeah, it's a
fucking-
child. It's Lorraine Gary. It's anybody.
It's Jaws.
The ocean. At one point, he's like, maybe the ocean wants to fly my plane. It doesn't. It just sinks it. It sinks it entirely.
And he wants to fuck Brody's ex-wife.
He does want to fuck
She
Brody
wants
this
it too. In this case, it's
Yeah.
not just the better mize. This is reciprocated.
Yeah. In this,
Not by us. in the
When there was a kiss at some point in this movie. I can't
Yeah.
remember of these characters, but we were all like, "Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Very
No one
creepy.
was cheering for it. It felt dry.
No,
it
it wasn't
felt.
burned.
It felt dry.
Yeah,
It felt like it had
might
ashy
start
knees.
a forest
I didn't
fire.
like it.
if they kissed too much. Yeah. So we did come up with a theory that kind of explained maybe because they say that Brody has a heart attack and dies. I don't know. We
don't
saw
buy
Brody.
it.
That man can handle all sorts of things. We did come with the theory that maybe the shark and Lorraine Gary had an affair, and Brody caught them.
Yes.
And of course, he went for his poison tip bullets. Where's my fucking gun? And he fired. It didn't work. The shark ate him. They just said it was a heart
Oh, it's a
attack.
heart attack.
This makes
But,
all the sense in the world when you think about why revenge. Like, why did
Right.
this shark want revenge? There's some depth to this.
Yeah.
There's more to it. It's not
This
just
is-
one shark died.
Yeah.
It's a shark got involved deeply with a woman he loved.
It's actually a rom-com.
It's a rom-com. And he's trying to get her back. He's trying to win her back. He's like, well, maybe if I lure her son to a buoy and bite his arm off and then kill him.
Oh, can we talk about that though?
Oh, God.
So
It
here's
imbues
another
sharks
thing.
with intelligence far beyond.
They can set traps. Sharks
set
can
traps
set
in this,
traps.
yeah.
This is what we get the so there's two Brody sons in the original movie.
not for long."
Not for long
No.
because right at the start of this movie,
The youngest.
the youngest, the baby boy, gets
Yeah.
ate by a shark.
Yeah.
Georgie.
But after it sets a trap, like it gets the floating dock stuck on a buoy.
Yeah.
So that the policeman's son has to go out in his little boat and loose
While
it
George
Yeah.
is waiting.
while he's waiting
So
and comes
then-
up and like fucking SS Georgie's in, takes his arm off, which
he just
they
puts
don't
inside
actually.
his
Oh, it's so crude.
They just
It's
tuck
just
it
dude does
inside his
this.
coat.
Oh, his arm's gone.
He's very broad-chested. Yeah.
So suddenly he is double in size.
This is the whitest man in all of
Continuity, we have never heard of her.
Exactly. And so he's screaming and all this stuff's happening, and then it takes him down.
Yeah.
And this is sort of the impetus for Lorraine Gary being like, we gotta get off this fucking island, and no one in my family is allowed to touch water ever again. And then they go to the Bahamas.
They go to the Bahamas where there's
To
no
fix
water.
this problem.
As far as I know.
Notoriously.
And of course, in the Bahamas, they get into some hijinks there.
Do you think the shark knew Like he
Of
was
course.
like, if I
Of
like,
course.
100%.
When they were sleeping
I don't
together
know how
one
else.
night, she said to the shark, if I ever flew away, I'd go to the Bahamas. And I'd find me a piloting man who, I'm pretty sure, it's implied that he's running cocaine.
yeah,
It's implied.
he said, what does he say? He says
I
he
deliver
delivers
laundry.
I'll deliver
laundry.
laundry. Yeah.
Yeah,
We all know what that means.
Yeah,
I
cocaine.
didn't. I had to ask. Have we mentioned his name is Hoagie?
His name is Hoagie, the name you would expect from
Never
a man with a
explained.
British accent. Yeah.
I just don't. Do you have hoagies?
No.
No. I've seen your sandwiches.
Wait,
I know you
do
don't
you
have
know what a
hoagies.
hoagie is?
I've had a hoagie.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
But had I just watched Jaws 4 sight unseen, I'd be like, what?
Oh.
But I mean,
You just think that's a common American
he
name.
just breezes into the movie like he's always been a character. He's like
Yeah,
Poochie. There's no explanation as to how they met. They're obviously like great family friends. Oh, he's let the kid fly his plane. They obviously know one another really well. But oh, here's Hoagie. Hi, Hoagie.
I don't know. It was the
And then
80s.
the
People were
Brownie
pretty.
family.
People were pretty permissive. They just be like,
Right.
"Here, have my kid.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
yours now."
Yeah.
So,
I guess we're friends.
yeah.
Yes.
And I
It's very
guess
weird.
the oldest boy has moved on from his tragic career at SeaWorld to now
Doesn't even
he
get mentioned.
he's
No,
tagging
unremarked upon.
right. Yeah,
I would have loved like a line about how different he looks or something like that. You know.
at the very least. It's like,
Really
did
a
you
lot
get fucked in the
spindlier.
eyes? What's your deal?
Boy, skinniest man alive in this as well, with the bowiest legs.
Oh
You gotta
my
love it.
goodness,
Yeah.
when he
The way he
runs,
runs.
it's really funny. So he's tagging conch sales with Mario Van Peebles and a dude who unfortunately decided to drum in the background. I'm assuming once, and the director was like, "Keep it going."
Yeah, it really took me
One
back.
continuity
It took me
thing they
back to
cared
my,
about.
Yeah.
took me back to my Christian college days when, like, do you guys remember like the cajon? It was like a box that like every Christian guy drummed on. They were like,
God.
"Yeah, I am like fucking Ringo now." And this guy was just in the background of the scene, just boom, ba-da, ba-da, da-da, da-da.
I implore you to watch Jaws 4 after this, right? And keep
Really?
an eye out for this
Yeah.
guy. Just
Yeah, and I think
relentlessly in the background.
Anna made the perfect point. I think what happened here was that the script supervisor was
Yeah.
like, "This guy was in the shot, and now we
Yeah,
gotta commit
so
to
yeah,
it."
It's like he didn't even know he was in the first shot. He's looking
It
over
really
there.
is like that.
And
And,
then
like
they're
he
like,
made an
"Gotta do it."
unfortunate decision because he's smiling real big
Real
while he's
big.
doing it. So like he's got to keep that up for every shot where
Yeah.
he's in the
Please, my
background.
fingers are bleeding. Please.
It kind of does look strange.
Yeah. And it just becomes more and more like awkward and unhinged as the
Yeah.
scene goes on, because now they're like squeezing past him out the door, and he's like, "Yeah, he's still like beating his whole thing."
I can't stop. He was cursed.
My hands have been cursed by a wizard.
See, now there's something interesting that might explain what's going on here.
There's no way this could take place if not for some type
There's magic.
of supernatural
Yeah,
element.
right.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
doesn't make
Right,
sense.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's so high on the list.
'cause it's so
like,
crazy.
what the fuck?
Yeah, you're watching it and you can't get bored.
Any
Yeah.
of those elements just on their own. All right, it's a bit fucking weird. But shock sense, shock generational trauma, drumming guy in the background, Brody's son isn't Dennis Quaid anymore and wants to fuck everybody in the whole film.
Everybody.
Shock's gonna lay traps. Michael Caine.
Sharks can come 3/4 out of the water, stay stationary, and roar.
Shock spends the entire time that far out the fucking water.
You can also see the shark scene. Which
Yeah.
is fun.
Oh man.
It
Again,
roars.
we're saying all this because it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
really,
These aren't
really.
bad
If any of this sounds like we're dissing the film, we're really not. It's really fucking good.
Yeah, my headcanon is there's just a guy in there. And that's actually part of the movie. There is some psychic man inside of that shark with a grudge who is
Is
channeling
this just
Lorraine
like
Gary.
ghost shark? You know,
Yeah.
the
Oh,
spirit of
God.
a shark
All
went
right, let's
into
throw
a man.
Ghost Shark in here.
Who
Ghost Shark
then-
is
Where do we
next.
rank Ghost
Yeah,
Shark?
Ghost Shark is
Oh,
definitely number
obviously,
2.
yeah.
Well, listen, Ghost Shark gave me a nightmare and none of these did, so
Okay.
it's got that going for it.
Wow,
Got
Ghost
that going
Shark.
for it.
Tell you this, I will watch Jaws 4 3 times on repeat again before I watch
Oh,
Jaws 2
absolutely.
again. I'm
Oh,
never
sure.
going back
Yeah.
to Jaws 2. But
I
Jaws
would
2,
totally
I'll
agree.
watch the fuck out of.
Yeah.
Great watch. Recommend it. Big recommend.
Absolutely. I
Next
think
party.
it's pretty obvious where we're going, though,
Well.
right? And probably obvious when you got here. What are you gonna say is number one?
Would have been crazy. They were like, Jaws 3D, number one.
You guys don't get it.
Yeah.
It's Jaws. It's
Show me
classic.
the way to go home.
Hey.
I'm tired and I wanna go to bed. Everybody, I had a little drink about an hour ago. It's gone
Straight to my head. We're drinking Narragansett up
We
here
are
for the
drinking
listeners.
Narragansett.
Yeah. And of course we'll crush the cans, but
Yes.
not right now. They're full.
Yeah, no, it'd be a bad idea.
I love this movie. This is a movie I grew up with. This is a movie that both inspired my love for sharks and my absolute fear of sharks.
Yep.
I think it did that culturally, didn't it? It
Yeah.
shows has a lot to
absolutely.
answer for with how
Yeah.
mankind relates
Yeah,
to
Yes,
sharks.
wrote the
unfortunately
story
it does.
around how people feel about sharks.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I think a lot of the people who are involved with Jaws have like really tried to undo that damage over time, but like the movies don't. Like by Jaws 4, you're like, they're psychic and they can kill you on vacation.
They have a personal vendetta against you.
Each one wants to kill you personally. They didn't mean to do that. That's in the first one, but that's certainly
Right.
where it went. But yeah, I feel like this is at the root of a lot of like my love and fear of the ocean, because we talk about that a lot on JoAG, like how I'm like, oh, I love a body of water, but also it's the scariest thing on
Oh
the
yeah.
planet.
Yeah. I want to look at it, not go in it.
Right, exactly, and it certainly starts here.
Yeah. 100%. This is also, just a blockbuster, the blockbuster.
Right. The blockbuster, yeah.
Yeah.
First.
This is Steven Spielberg really showing up. Finally, everybody's like, "Oh, hey, let's pay attention to this guy." And also, just a stellar cast.
Right.
Really killing it. It's hard to find flaws with Jaws, I feel like.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I love the dialogue and how dynamic the script and the blocking work together, and there's so much happening all the time, but
feel
it's
like
never
people,
too
characters
busy.
feel like actual
Yeah.
It feels like
Yeah.
you're just like peeking through the window on
Yeah.
these like real people.
Yeah, it's kinetic. Spielberg keeps things moving. He keeps like natural movement in the background, natural conversations going on in the foreground, and letting them just run loose while feeling contained.
Yeah, you see the like by Jaws 4. You've got the extras doing the sort of like very clear like watermelon cantaloupe thing in the background.
Right, yeah.
Like they're not talking. They're
carrots,
like
peas and
they're
carrots.
getting they're getting quiet and all these kinds of things. And in this one, I mean, it is what Spielberg is known for. You see it in all of his movies where there's always this kind of overlap where you could listen to both conversations, right? And
Infinitely
The extras
rewatchable.
have their own internal kind of lives.
yeah, exactly. They exist outside the scene you're watching them in.
It's such a
right
rich like life that you're getting to like be a part of for a couple hours.
Just-
Yeah, and even though, a despicable character like the mayor, like you do still understand his motivation.
He was trying his best.
Yeah,
he
and
had
you
the
do still-
economy in mind.
I don't know if that's what we need to give him credit for,
Right.
but he does
He's
have,
not doing his
a
best.
moment of humanity when, he
does have
has that
rad
like
suits.
he has rad suits
Yeah.
for one, we'll give him that. But he also, when his own kid is at risk in the one scene,
Right.
you kind of get that like
Yeah.
there is no one-dimensional character. Everybody
Right.
does, like you said, have like this internal life and everything. And so even the guy who is like the most transparently evil capitalist bastard in this, you realize, oh, he's got a family at home.
Yeah.
He's not heinous 24/7.
Yep.
And he is
Right.
playing the odds. Like,
Well, yeah,
this
right.
is weird. It's
Yeah,
a
this
weird,
shouldn't
weird
happen.
thing that shouldn't happen. And
Yeah.
he's thinking like, this is not going to happen again.
Now by
What's
Jaws 2, come
Yeah,
on,
of course.
Yeah.
At that point, it's like,
Doodling
listen, we got
those odds
precedent.
real quick.
yeah.
I also feel like you could pause any frame of this movie and be able to hang it on the wall. It's
Oh,
so
yeah, it's
beautiful.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Absolutely
Like so
gorgeous.
many like he has such a great eye, and there's so many like breathtaking shots
Yeah.
that I'm just like, it's just like, this is why I love movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And-
think that's the overwhelming feeling when you watch Jaws.
Yeah.
Like, this is a motion picture.
Yeah.
Like, this is what people lined
Yeah.
up for.
It has what I consider to be one of the only cast iron scares in all of cinema.
Oh,
It doesn't matter how many
100%.
fucking times.
We
when
all
the
know
head
what it
pops
is,
out the
right?
ship, you
Ben
will
Gardner's head.
always fucking jump at that
Yeah.
moment. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter
It's
if you
great.
know it's coming. I have a question for my Hellranker friends.
Okay.
Is Jaws a horror movie?
I think
Yes.
so. Yeah, I have argued this before
Because
back on Dead Lovely,
what do you feel when you watch it?
Yeah, right?
Terror.
Yeah.
I mean, that is subjective,
Aroused.
but
Yeah.
I would say that a lot of people feel those feelings from watching it, and I think a movie like how the movie makes you
Yeah.
feel is kind of what makes it
slasher.
a horror.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
a slasher.
I
for
feel
sure.
like a movie that provides people with a lifelong fear.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's the Michael
Case closed,
Myers
case
of the
closed.
sea.
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the first, yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
He's
you
out
can't
there
escape
stalking.
him. he's slowly lumbering behind you, and bam, he's going to show up.
Unfeeling. That's kind of what's scary too. I mean, as much as I love how crazy it gets with like this, shark with a mission, it's scarier to know that it's not personal.
Right.
It's scarier to know that it could happen to anyone.
It's just found a feeding pool. This is
Right,
where
exactly.
Because if you're not the one who's being targeted, then who cares? We know that no one really.
The
not
Brodies
too
are
many
the only people in danger by the end
after
of this
a certain
series.
point. But in the first one, it's like anyone's at risk. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
And that's an experience a lot of people have had. Like not necessarily the shark, but like being in that setting.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
Where was Spielberg at career-wise at that point? Had he done E.T.?
He had not done E.T. He had just done Duel, which was a made-for-TV movie, which is amazing
Really
if you
good.
haven't seen
It's
it.
really good.
It's so
Jaws
good.
shares a lot
Yeah.
in common with Duel, isn't it?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
truck is a shark. this
Totally.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
you can see him
inevitability
working
being
out.
stalked.
Yeah.
That idea
Land
of like
Jaws.
being pursued and
Duel
not-
is terrifying.
Oh,
by the
Duel
way.
is so
It
terrifying.
is very scary.
If you've never seen Duel, that's another
Check it
you
out.
gotta
It will-
recommend.
yeah, it's really
that.
good. But I think like he's right at the point in his career where people are talking about it, and they think he's gonna do things, and this is the thing he did. Like this really like set it off where it was like, oh, we can trust him, and then he got more
Which
and
is like,
more.
given the way this movie unfolded, to the point where like there's literally documentaries about it, like called like The Shark Is Not Working and things like that, because like he took way too long. He spent way too much money. Everyone was so pissed at him that the last day of shooting, he left.
Yeah.
He just straight bolted because he was like, these people are going to fucking lynch me if I stay here. Yeah, he left before the last shot was shot and just was
wild.
like, bye. And if this hadn't worked, if it hadn't come together the way it was, he would have been donezo.
Yeah, that would have been it.
That would have been the end of his
I love
career.
that. I love movies that are like a massive
Make
swing.
or break.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Such a
If
huge
it's
swing.
fucked up, I am
Yeah.
dead. But they just changed the landscape, changed the culture.
Right, yeah. Instead, it could have failed miserably, and instead it changed movies
forever.
entirely.
Yeah.
And people have emulated Steven Spielberg forever. Still, there's so many screenings of this to this day that I've watched it on a lake in Texas.
Yeah.
I have watched it with weird Richard Dreyfuss ramblings afterwards. I have watched it in all these different. I've probably seen it on some sort of big screen at least half a dozen or more times.
Tattoo.
And I have Jaws tattoos,
That's
but
true.
just the ubiquity of like being able to still see it on a screen.
And yet, like as influential as it has been, no shark movie has ever topped it or come close.
No.
Anywhere
Which is
near it,
so
yeah.
like what? Like it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's
It
so
is.
good.
It is. Like I give shark movies so much of a chance.
Yeah. I mean, I love a
want-
shark movie. I don't care
yeah.
if they're shitty,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Yeah, and it,
The
just,
shittier
it
the
doesn't
better.
happen unless it's Ghost Shark.
Well-
Go watch Ghost Shark.
I think I have a really high tolerance for shark movies, and maybe it's because of this. But like, I love was it 37 meters down?
Sure.
The Shallows.
Deep Blue Sea is
Deep Blue
great.
Sea. Deep Blue
I
Sea is
love
awesome.
Deep Blue
Love
Sea.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
I love
have
the
time for
Meg
that.
movies. Like
The Meg,
I love the Meg.
In the Meg 2, Jason Statham shows off his human capacity to walk across the Mariana Trench without a suit. So I think that is worth talking about.
That's the Fast and Furious going to space.
Yeah.
When
Once
they went in
Tyrese
at
hits
2.
space, you know it's good. Yeah.
And they hit that at the second installment, so I don't even know where they're
Right?
going to go from here. Where do we put them next? He's
Where
gonna
did it
go
go
lower.
that Jaws 4 hasn't already gone?
I
Well,
hope
that's a
that
good
I
point.
hope that Jason Statham like punches the shark in the eye next time.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Fist fights.
Yeah.
The shark, the great white shark, is one of like 3
Glad you
animals
clarified.
that I couldn't take.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
All right. What are the other two?
No, I'm honest, I'm human, I'm humble, and I think a great white shark could fuck me up, but I'd put up a fight, it would be close.
Sure. Okay.
What's your strategy?
Just fucking get in there, mate.
Just fucking get in there.
Just
See what you can do.
I'm similar to you, and like and it's slightly different in that I don't think I would beat one. I think that I could make them my friend.
Yeah.
They would
Yeah.
they would
This
sense
is-
that I'm not going to hurt them. So
Well,
yeah,
so we know they're
we're cool.
telepathic. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
yes, just think good thoughts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, yeah.
You
that's
wanna
a
hurt
good
me?
point.
I like
Yeah.
you. You're cool. I don't taste good.
Swims right by. Not interested.
It is interesting that that's the thing you've picked that you couldn't fight. Because, like, famously, you can kind of get away from a great white shark just by giving it a good little pop in the nose. They don't like
true.
it. They're not into it.
Says who? Where does that come from?
Says, like, people who punch sharks in the nose. And then they
You should give them a
Talk to
little bit
those
of credit.
Eileen.
They punch sharks in the nose.
Eileen,
And
can you
survive to
punch
tell
a
the
shark
tale.
and put it off by punching a shark in the nose?
She don't got to check PubMed for
Bullshit.
that. I'm right.
4 Jaws movies and nobody thought to do that.
It's weird. It is odd. Yeah.
The end.
You want
Yeah.
a headlock? You want to put him in a sleeper hold? That's what you want to do.
Just
annoy
Vulcan nerve pinch the shark.
Suplex through
There
a
we
tail.
go.
Annoy the jaws into submission.
Yeah. It should work.
All you got to do. That's why I should write movies, obviously.
So I mean, there's not much more to say about Jaws. Obviously, the best shark. Like, it's weird that in the first in the series has the best shark, and none even come close afterward. But best shark, great end of the shark.
Yeah,
Explodes.
obviously.
Exploding shark.
Superb.
And just like characters that you take with you, you know? I
Yeah.
mean, is there anyone more iconic than Quint?
Yeah.
No, there isn't.
One of the big crimes of Jaws 4 is that it's scared to kill characters off.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
true.
when you see a character falling into a shark's mouth, a bloody
worry.
mess,
Yeah.
being
Don't
dragged
worry.
underwater. Oh no, they're
Don't
dead.
worry, they'll be
5
there.
minutes later,
They're holding out for a fifth.
he's all right.
This guy got bit inside of a sinking airplane. He's fine. Don't worry about it. Walk it off.
You know how much cocaine this guy's on? You know.
Even the shark spat him out.
Feel it. Yeah.
They killed that shark because it was high as fuck at that point.
Yeah.
But can I just real quick, because I think we didn't mention this though. The one thing that the fourth one is lacking, I don't know, maybe the bafflingness of it works for it, but how they killed that shark is still a mystery.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
to
They
me. It
yeah,
kind
they
of
put
just
it-
Maybe they didn't know.
improvised, like, device in there. They didn't say was.
But it was like a
explosive.
flashlight.
Right. And then they pierced it with the front of the boat, and it exploded
Literally
popped like a balloon.
in like 2 frames, and then was
brushing
gone.
against a ship. It just
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Remember like the psychic stuff and the way that everyone wants to fuck each other? Think about that.
That's the fun part. Yeah.
If there's anything we want you to take home with you, the
It's
message.
that everyone wants to fuck each other.
And that's what we want you to take home, dear listeners.
Well, at least after the second one, at least you couldn't call it a boring franchise.
Right.
No.
It pivots into kind of action with the third one, and then it goes fuck knows like A24 in the fourth one. It's a franchise that at least has plenty to say about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like if they had kept going, they would have got back to gold.
Yeah.
That's a thing we find all
Yeah,
the
Jaws
time.
would have gone to space.
100, it would have been awesome. Like, that's happens so often where a franchise just like it goes downhill, then it gets a little silly in the mid 80s ish, and then it just dies or goes the exact opposite way, which is more insane, more crazy, and it gets better and better and better.
See, I want to ask a question too that I asked Mark while watching this, because I have a thought on that. Has anyone ever remade a sequel?
Great question.
Oh.
Ooh.
Right?
That's a good idea,
the
though.
Sequel, right? Because I would watch a remake of Jaws 3. I think the
Oh,
bones
for sure.
are there.
Give it another shot. Yeah.
Right? Especially in the
Save
post-Killicum
SeaWorld,
area. Right? Yeah, you know?
I'm really thinking now.
Are you raising your hand, Rialda?
Isn't Halloween 2018 kind of like a sequel?
Yeah. It's a requel, isn't it?
It's a requel, yeah. So I guess,
Okay.
yeah, kind of, and it integrates
That's
pieces
the closest
of-
that's come, I think.
Yeah.
Right? I say, remake Jaws 3. Call it Jaws 3. Put it in the theater.
Yes.
And let's
Can
just
it
go.
also be 3D too?
Oh, obviously.
We have to do
For
Jaws
sure.
3D.
Don't say too loud, Hollywood will hear you. That's all we'll fucking get.
There's a guy in the bushes right now, like,
Just taking notes.
Listen, we said we were going to make a movie in 2025, and we've got an announcement for you.
it's Jaws 3, the remake. We got Mario and Van Peebles
Let's
back.
do it.
It's going to be awesome.
No, he's
Jaws
in 4.
3 the
Wait.
remake.
The Jaws 3.
So yeah, that's our ranking. I mean, I think it was astonishing that we all had the same ranking when we came together, because I heard them talking and I was like, "Ooh, I don't know if I agree with where we're going." And then I wrote them down. They wrote them down. We were all in the same spot.
Yeah. I think it's undeniable when you
It
watch
is.
them.
It is. So let's recount that. Our least to best with Jaws. We got 2.
Yep.
We got 3.
Yep.
we got the revenge.
Yeah.
And then we got number one at number one.
Perfect.
And do let us know your rankings.
Oh,
if you
yeah,
watch
let
this,
us
because
know.
I am curious if everyone feels the same way. I mean, I know there are plenty of people who think 2 is a perfectly serviceable movie.
Sure. Yeah, and they're probably not wrong.
But that's
Serviceable for a
that's
fan.
part of
Yeah,
why
yeah.
it's so low.
Yeah.
Is that
Exactly.
it's just
Lacks
fine.
ambition. It's
Yes.
just,
Yeah.
right,
It's too
good.
safe.
Yeah.
So.
Take a risk. Send them to space.
I want that on a
Just
t-shirt.
go part
Yeah.
2. Like, space.
I'm certain I've said this before. I'd, as counterintuitive as this sounds, I'd rather hate a movie
Yeah.
than be left completely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you want to feel something.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hatred is better than apathy
Yes.
for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
This sounds
And
like
it gives
something an
us
edgy
something to
teenager
talk
would
about.
say, but
Hatred is better than apathy. I want to go smoke cloves at the mall.
The new album from Korn, Hatred is Better.
anything further
No,
that we'd like to leave
nothing
our friends
further.
with?
Only this.
Give us that benediction. Let's go.
When my life ends, as it will, and
Some doubt it.
That
Some
thought's
doubt it.
never
Some
won.
scoff that you will die.
when my body dumps that DMT into my bloodstream.
Right. Yeah.
That signifies my life is coming, and the visions start to come, and my mind plays back some of its greatest moments. Your faces, right now,
You're here.
is going to be in the highlight reel.
Yep.
So thank you very, very much indeed for coming. This has been a fucking blast.
And of course,
Hellrankers
you know,
fucking agreed.
Thank you, Bat.
Thank you guys.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
We love you guys.
stay spooky. Dear
Take
friends.
it easy.
Stay